If you ever feel like your hair is just stuck at one length, basically you keep getting trims but your hair keeps breaking up, a mini foil is a perfect solution to help keep your hair blonde but still keep it growing. This is my before and then this is my after. Usually if you have fine hair, it's more prone to breakage, so I'm going to show you guys a service I provide to my clients that you can do on yourself at home, or you can even ask your stylist for it, and it's going to keep your hair growing while still being blonde at home. If hair growth is something that you struggle with, or if you have any other pain points with your hair, I'm also offering a free 15-minute call for up to 50 women so that I can collect as much information that I need to create the videos that you guys want to see. If that's something you guys are interested in, just click the link tree in my bio, request my free guide, and put free consultation in the notes section, and I'll reach out to you. Other than that, we'll get started. So the rule of thumb basically is only mix up what you need. I'm probably gonna do around maybe like 2 to 2.5 scoops of this, and I'm only gonna be using 10 volume. We are not gonna be doing a ton of foils on our head. We need to make sure that we're not mixing up too much lightener. You can always mix more, you just don't wanna waste it. Now I'm going to mix this for the consistency that I like, which means it's gonna be a little bit thicker. The more thick the mixture, the better. The power is in the bleach, not in the developer. Since I'm starting in the front, this is gonna be about the consistency that I want. This whole entire concept is based on how your hair naturally lays. It depends on if you have a part. We're gonna do probably up to 3 foils on each side of the part, as well as a couple of foils right at the crown section here. And then a few right here at the hairline. So basically the hair that's underneath here is not going to be touched. And right where your hair starts to go back, you're gonna work exactly off of where your hair is laying, so where it's living. So I'm not gonna start going backwards here, I'm gonna start right there where it starts to go back. So I'm gonna place my comb right here, and I'm gonna go straight to my ear with it, and we're gonna separate this hair. So we're gonna start with the hairline here, so I'm gonna pull some of this hair back. You're going to want to do your very first section. It needs to be like baby fine hair. And you want to make sure that you're following your hairline. So that's about your very first section, how much hair that should be left out. So we're gonna do a baby fine weave, up and down, up and down. You're gonna separate that hair. And we're gonna do the section that fell out like behind it. I'm gonna grab my foil, take my comb, I'm gonna fold it over my comb, and then crease it right here. You're gonna lift this hair up with lots of tension and pull it down just like this. Slide your comb out. We're gonna take our 2 fingers and we're gonna just push right there so that we can lock it in. Grab my brush with lightener on it. You don't need a ton of lightener on this section here because it's baby fine hair and you don't wanna blast it with bleach. So I'm gonna start painting down, and do not overlap this hair. So if it's already bleached, only do the hair that's grown out. So we're gonna push these ends out of the way. We're gonna fold it up in half, find the crease, fold this bottom part first, and then we're gonna take our comb, do an indent here and here. And we're gonna do 2 more foils just like this. And just so you guys know, one of the myths about this is you do not want dirty hair for this. I think a lot of people think that that's the case, but dirty hair actually does not do well with bleach because that bleach has to push through all of that product buildup and oil on your scalp. So if you're doing a bleach and tone, that might be the case, but for just regular highlights, please wash your hair. Okay, so once you get to this part of your hairline, you're gonna wanna make sure that your foils are following how your hairline is going. So my hairline goes in right here just like this at this angle. So that is how we're gonna do our foils, and I did 3 right here, so we're gonna do another 3 right there. So I'm gonna drop my first section. And the other thing too is, guys, your hairlines are never gonna look the same as mine or anybody else's. So the most thing that you do wanna do is make sure that these foils connect here, because you don't want a big dark spot right there. And this is where the tension comes in key, because these hairs are so short. You have to make sure you're grabbing these hairs and holding on to them so that your foil doesn't slip out. So we're gonna take it, fold it over, hold it super tight, slide that out, and use our pinky finger and our pointer finger to push this foil in so it molds to our head. You're only gonna be able to see out of one eye when this gets to that point, so do the very best you can to not overlap on your previous blonde. One thing that you want to make sure you avoid is going over this foil. So you don't want to touch your scalp. If you need to stop a little bit short of that, that's totally fine, because bleach usually expands as it processes. So it is going to expand a little bit. So to avoid bleeders, you want to try to make sure that you do that. So we're going to fold it in the same direction. This helps to lock in the foil. So the next section that I drop, I'm going to try to make sure that I connect these foils here to this section here. And then if you guys can see right here, my foil is starting to slip a little bit. So we're going to take our finger and we're going to turn our comb vertical and basically brush down so that we can make sure that it gets right where it needs to be, so we can get as tight to the scalp as possible. So if you guys can see, that weave right there is baby fine. You should be able to read a page of a book through that hair. So the thicker the hair, the more problem it's gonna be, especially with fine hair. Like I said, you can see inconsistencies a lot easier on fine hair than normal or thick hair. Make sure you're taking very fine sections and weaves. Also, your hair will process a lot quicker on these finer sections as well than if you take thicker sections. Another thing I wanted to mention to you guys is that if you're properly applying your lightener and lifting it to the level it needs to be, so giving it the proper amount of processing time, you really shouldn't hardly even need a toner, unless you'd like more of a caramel tone or something like that. Usually purple shampoo will tone your hair to the perfect shade. If you do want it to be a little bit more ashy and gray, then you would obviously need a toner, but I like to be basically more of vanilla type of blonde, which your hair naturally lifts to about a pale yellow. So purple shampoo usually does the trick instead of a toner. I will do a K18 treatment to make sure that my cuticle closes and it stays healthy, but we'll see at the end on how the color's gonna be. So I'm done on this side on the front and this hairline. I'm gonna work on this side and then I will be right back. All right, I just finished this side, and one thing I did want to mention is that I have a lot less hair on this side. So when my foils got to about the same basically like area on both sides, I only ended up doing 2 right here instead of 3. So now we're gonna work on our part that's right here. It is about this much space until we get to the back of our crown. So you should only need 1, 2, 3 foils on each side right here. Follow your part line right here. It should be a very fine section. Separate that, and then we're gonna weave it. I'll get up close so you guys can see. It should look just like this. So you can see basically where your hair has grown out to. Mine's about right there. So we're going to over direct it on this side and then fold this section over. You want to make sure that your foil is in line with your part. Take your 2 fingers, push down, and hold lots of tension right there. And you're only going to put lightener obviously on what is grown out. Try not to put a ton of lightener right by that very top section there, in case it gets smushed or it starts to bleed out. This is only lightener with 10 volume, so it's not strong at all. And the reason we're only doing 10 volume is because my hair, at the level of lightness that it is, does not need anything more than 10 volume. If you do have darker hair, then you might want to start with a 20 so that it can process its full time. You never want to use 30 volume on highlights. That is going to blow your cuticle out. If you do have pre-colored hair, obviously your processing time is going to be longer. Now you're going to flip over the hair that dropped out and clip it on the other side. So moving on to our next one, we're going to do the exact same thing. So one major thing that I did want to touch on is your guys' hair health. My hair is overall very healthy. I do keep up on trims, and I also use very good products. You guys should be using something that has moisture in it if you are coloring your hair blonde. If you are using something protein based, just be careful not to overuse protein, because overuse of protein in your hair will actually make your hair feel like hard and brittle. Check the ingredients on what you guys are using and make sure that it has moisture in it versus protein. Okay, I'm gonna do this side, and on this side I'm only gonna do 2 foils because this side doesn't have as much hair at all. This is my lighter side. So I'm just gonna do 2 foils here and then we'll start on the crown. All right, so I've finished both sides now. I actually did end up doing 3 on this side anyway, just because I'm a perfectionist. But we are going to switch to the back. I have remixed my lightener and I have 20 volume in here just because I want all of the foils to process at the same time. And we started with the very front, so now we're gonna increase our volume of developer as we get to the back. I am also going to be using a balayage board, or you can call it a TZ light board, whatever floats your boat. But we are going to be using this to do the crown section, and it's going to make our lives so much easier. So a crash course on this, it just needs to be a little bit bigger than whatever board that you're using. So you're gonna take it, put it right up to these little teeth right here, and you're gonna fold it on both sides, just like this. So that when you put this right up here, it's already gonna be on there and secure. You can see basically where this is starting. So we're going to take our section right here and we're gonna make it straight across. We're gonna separate that. Clearly see my line of demarcation right here. We're gonna go back and flip to the front so that you can see how I paint it on. I just wanted to show you guys how we do the back. Okay, so you can clearly see the line right here that my hair is grown out to. And we're gonna weave out a very fine weave. With it already on with the foil, you're gonna take it, flip it this way, put the teeth right into there. Get as much tension on this as possible. I like to hold it right here. Now, because of the way our hair falls, even if you don't get as close right here to the scalp, it's okay because it's gonna be diffused, because your hair goes in all kinds of different directions once it gets to this point. But obviously get it right up to those teeth as best you can and try as best you can not to overlap. I really do like using boards like this because it actually allows you to push that lightener in pretty easily and you can go very quickly with it. And then you're going to unwrap this foil right here and gently pull it out. Now, pushing this hair out of the way, you're going to take your foil and do the same exact thing that you did in the very front. So we're going to work our way down the crown section. So we're going to flip this over this way. We want our veil of hair that we did not touch with bleach to lay over that. You guys are going to need probably a double-sided mirror for this, just to make sure you don't grab a section that's too big. So I want a veil about that much hair, and then we're going to lay it right over that. Weave out your section. And this hair might be too thick right here. It's okay, we're gonna fix that. I'm gonna take my board that already has the foil on it. You're gonna hold it as tight as you can to your scalp, just like that. Okay, so I did 3 in the back on the crown section of my head, and now I'm gonna flip this hair over so that it lays the way it's supposed to. Sometimes this part gets a little bit crumpled up, so we just want to make sure that our foils are not slipping. Now we're going to take a towel, we're going to put a towel over our head, and we're going to let this process for the full processing time. Normally it's about 45 minutes to an hour. However, I'm going to keep checking it as I go. We are looking for a pale yellow color. All right, so I pulled out some of the foils. They're done processing. I'm going to show you guys what color that would be. If you can see that, it's a pale yellow. If you still see a ton of yellow in your hair, give it 5 to 10 more minutes. Make sure you're keeping that towel on your head too. So after washing with purple shampoo and doing a treatment, this is how it's turned out. This is how it looks straight. And if you have fine hair that's straight, you know it always looks different when it's curly. So the fact that it's this blonde is pretty good for only a handful of foils on each side of my part. I'm also gonna do a 360 so that you guys can see the back. So I did just do a trim about 2 months ago, and I really don't think that my hair needs it. It feels so good and healthy, and I'm kind of on like a hair health journey. So the K18, I wasn't really sold on it until I bought the 2 shampoo and conditioners by them. And I feel like my hair health has increased dramatically. I mean, my hair feels healthier after I just bleached it than it did before. So if you guys want the links for these, I will put it in the description below, as well as the treatment that I used. It's so good. So I hope that this helps at least someone. If you want to try it, I think that it would help your hair health, and so that you can keep growing it but still stay blonde. It is going into fall right now, and I'm just not one of those people that wants to go dark during the fall. I love having blonde hair. It's just I hate the breakage. So if you want to try this, put a comment below. I'm curious to see if you try it at home or if you ask your stylist for it. I will see you next time and in the next video.